Hi, my name is Lexi Rodriguez and I'm the owner and founder of Studio 407 in Vacaville, California. Today we're going to be doing a series on the reformer using the tower and the roll down bar. I hope you have so much fun and I can't wait for you to watch. All right, we are gonna go ahead and get started today with a red spring and a blue spring. I already have my foot bar lifted up to the 90-degree level. I also have my carriage pushed out about 2 notches, especially if you're using that Bravo reformer. You're gonna wanna bring that carriage out a little bit farther. You just don't wanna be too close. I also have my yellow springs. I have 2 long springs attached to my maple dowel here at the end. I really like it at this point as well because when you start using it, it'll be at the perfect shoulder height for this entire routine. Here we go. Gently laying down. We're going into a footwork series here. So just finding my positioning. It's a little bit tricky to find that dowel, but once you get it, you've got it. Awesome. Okay, my favorite starting position here is just pressing out far enough to where I can get my hands directly over my shoulders. You really don't want to be all the way home because then you're going to feel that excess pressure in the shoulders from the shoulder blocks. So just press yourself out a little bit for that starting position. From here, we're going to take a big inhale prep. Exhale from the seat, we press the legs to straight. We find the arms dropping down to the waist. Inhale as you bend home, control. Control, exhale as you press. Find length through the backs of the thighs. Inhale, bring it home. Keep going here. I really find a lot of value in dropping the shoulders as I lift the arms back up. You're also gonna find that rib to hip connection turning on very quickly. So we're also getting some core in, especially when you're short on time. This is one of my favorite ways to get right into some full body. Once you've found a few repetitions here, we're gonna press the legs back out nice and long and straight. Keep the maple dowel down at your thighs, and we're gonna articulate down to those toes. So toes apply to the foot bar, again, just about hip distance apart. Find those arms dropping straight. You're gonna find some resistance. We're gonna drop the heels. Inhale, exhale, lift. Inhale, exhale, lift. Really pressing long through that dowel. Again, I'm really building up some energy in through my lats here. I am actively feeling my ribs drawing down at my hips. Then you're gonna lift those heels back up. Again, finding an even pressure through big toe and pinky toe. We're just gonna bend the elbows wide for a little bit of a tricep. Exhale as you press. Inhale, shave the body. Exhale, press. Not only are you finding some upper body work and control here, but your calves are going to be on fire. It happens quickly, but again, when you're short on time, this is my go-to. Inhale as you bend, exhale, find length through the back of the arms. Let's take one more. Press out and hold, and we're gonna take it into some arm circles. So I lift the arms straight up, inhale. Exhale, bend, and we find length again. We keep going. Shoulders drop down as I lift, bend, and press. Let's take one more in this direction. Again, the arms are starting to feel spicy. Then we go the other direction. Bend, extend from the armpits, I press down. Again, really finding that full body energy here as we go throughout this movement. Finishing out that last one. Excellent job. Take a moment to prance it out because those calves, again, are going to feel really spicy. Now, option to bring the right leg through that maple dowel. It can be a little bit tricky, which is why, again, I opted for those long springs. That way you're not fighting that weight too much. Now, something that's really important here when you're looking at your lineup is that thigh needs to be in the middle of that dowel. If it's not, you're gonna see that dowel kind of cant to the side, and we really want it level. So with my toes still on the foot bar, I'm actually gonna press a little bit of energy into that right thigh so I can get hip over knee, hands nice and flat at the sides. We're gonna inhale, this time we bend. So now I'm fighting the springs. Exhale, press. Inhale as you bend. Exhale as you press. You don't want to go past that point to where that dowel is going to tap your other knee because then again, it can kind of throw off that right side. So just going to that point of tension, again, finding that right glute sitting heavy here. Wonderful. Let's take one more. Awesome job. Option, if you're looking for a little bit of a stretch, to take the hands to the dowel, straighten that leg, and then you can just flex both feet and sink under the bar. It feels amazing, especially if you sit for a living, sometimes even standing for a living, we get really prone to that hamstring tightness. So this is a great little relief. Once you have that, we toe point press. We're just gonna take the hands, press into that dowel to help us remove the leg, and then we're going to go to the other side. So left foot is going to apply, hook that knee, again, making sure we're nice and level, hands come flat at the sides, and again, we're pressing into that left glute slightly. We bend the right knee, inhale, exhale, press. Inhale as you bend, exhale as you press, find length. Again, there's gonna be that tendency to let this left knee creep in towards you because of the spring, so you still have to, again, find that glute to keep that dowel in place. Exhale as you press. Let's take a few more. And one more. Find that length again. Again, hands to the dowel. We're gonna straighten the leg, flex both feet here. Again, just really stretching through that left side, which feels amazing. Excellent job. One more big breath. Lifting the heels, and we're just gonna gently pull that leg back out and bend back home. Again, the hard part here is kind of putting that dowel back at the end in a nice, safe way. Sometimes your ropes can get in the way. Just do your best. Wonderful job. Once you have that, we're gonna come up to seated, and we're just gonna really nice and easy switch our spring. So just drop that red, so we are on a blue spring on the bottom now. And from here, I'm gonna sit on my carriage, facing forward. Now from here, when I'm looking at my lineup for my glutes, I try to get my glutes about a hand's distance away from the edge of my table. That way I'm not falling into the well when I take it into a C curve. So once you have that, we again find that same dowel, as graceful as we can, of course, and then you're gonna bring your legs back over the headrest. Now, what you're going through here is you're gonna find that there is some tension pulling you from the back and from the front. And this is the beauty of using that tower when you're using the reformer, is you get those two different energies pulling you both directions. From here, we're sitting up tall on our sit bones, shoulder blades go up, back, and down around our spine. We're gonna go slow motion here. If you go too fast, you're gonna beat your spring. So we inhale, exhale, I C curve, I'm tucking through my pelvis. Notice how that spring is catching up to me. I inhale, hold. Exhale, articulate the spine back up nice and tall, coming back up to seated. Inhale. Exhale, C curve, finding those shoulders dropping low. A lot of the times you'll see people creep their shoulders up. We really want to find those armpits engaging to help us stay nice and level. Inhale. Exhale, C curve. Wonderful. When you're here, you're really focusing on that rib to hip connection. So I'm finding that tuck through my pelvis and closing the ribs to my hips without, again, letting my chin come forward. So my head is an extension of my spine. I'm going to inhale, exhale, lift the right leg. Inhale, set it down. Exhale, lift the left leg. Inhale, set it down. Now your springs are gonna give you feedback. If your glutes start peeling back and you start coming forward, that spring is gonna tell you and you're gonna feel it. So this is, again, the great part about using the tower in this situation. Wonderful, we're gonna lift that right leg up, and here is a little challenge for you. Keeping that leg lifted, we're gonna inhale. Exhale, you're gonna bend the elbows. We're pulling our way in. It's a big core challenge, and we send it back and back and back. Set that leg down, inhale, exhale, lift the left leg, and then we're gonna pull that dowel again, really taking your time, rib to hip connection, straightening the arms, resisting on the way home, and we'll take it for one more time on each side. So we lift the right leg, inhale, exhale, we pull, inhale, we straighten again, trying not to beat that spring, setting the leg down, inhale, exhale, lift, inhale, pause, exhale, we pull. And inhale, we straighten. Wonderful job. Moving on from that, we're gonna roll the spine up, and I'm just gonna bring my heels to my headrest this time. So squeezing my knees and ankles together. Again, if you started to slide a little bit on your table, you can just adjust those hips forward a little bit more. From here, I'm sitting up nice and tall. I'm gonna start in my C curve. So I'm tucking through my tail again. That dowel is starting right at my kneecaps. I'm gonna inhale. Exhale, I'm shaving my legs with that dowel. Inhale, hold. Exhale, roll up. Good, it's small. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, roll up. And we're just shifting rib to hip here. Keeping it small, finding that detail. Again, just a nice little core burn here if you're looking to add a little bit of spice to your day. We're gonna come down one more time and hold for 3 and 2 and 1. Roll all the way up onto those sit bones. Excellent job. We are gonna go ahead and set that dowel back down. We need to take one more spring change, but we are gonna leave that dowel where it is. So I'm gonna bring this down. Again, setup here might be a little bit tricky, but nothing we can't handle. We're gonna take off all of our springs. So springs come off. Excellent job. And then we're gonna shift that table all the way down. Now, here's the tricky part. Do you have to lift that dowel up and bring it over? So your carriage is going to be all the way at your stoppers at this point, and it's gonna stay there. So from here, I'm gonna carefully grab my dowel, pull it up and over my head, and come down into my laying down supine position. Once we're here, you're gonna actually apply both feet to this dowel. So I'm gonna take it right onto the arches of my feet. Again, this is kind of why we warmed up the way we did at the start of this class. And feet are gonna go about hip distance apart. Now you can see how close my knees are into my chest, so we wanna bring it out to knee over that hip socket. Arms are coming down nice and flat at our sides. We're just feeling the abdominals lightly hug into the spine. Sit bones are long and facing our foot bar. We're gonna inhale, exhale, press. Inhale as you bend. Exhale as you find length. I love using this dowel for hip work because again, it's giving you instant feedback. So I can see if I'm pressing too heavy through my right or through my left. When you look at that dowel, one side's either gonna be lifted or lowered. And again, the feedback, you just can't beat it. Feet and straps is wonderful, but when I'm looking for a little bit more detail work, I'm always gonna go for this dowel. Inhale to bend. On your next one, we're gonna go into a little bit of a double leg bicycle. So I'm going to reach my legs straight up, maintaining tension in my springs. Legs pull straight down. Wonderful. We bend the knees, keeping the sit bones heavy. I extend, reach my legs long, and pull that dowel down, really finding my abs here. You don't want the pelvis shifting all over the table when you're doing this. Again, we're going for that pelvis control. So I'm really trying to not lift my glutes as I come up. I stay anchored, and then I use my abs and my hamstrings to pull back down. Now, if we go one way, we need to go the opposite way. So I press my legs long, lift my legs up to the sky, maintaining that same tension in the springs. I collapse the knees down. We press, find length, abs draw in, lift the legs, sit bone heavy, bend the knees, come back to that start position. Let's take one more here and lift and break at the knees, come back down. On your next one, I always take my hands to that bar when I'm changing foot positions. Again, it's spring loaded. We're always thinking about safety here. Heels together, toes apart in that wonderful little Pilates V, bringing my knees back over my hip bones to start. Inhale, exhale, press. Zipping those inner thighs together. Inhale as you bend, resist that spring. Exhale as you press. Now, is this the heaviest spring in the world? No. But it's a great way to tune into your core, but also to find the hip control and the resistance of the spring back in. So that way we're not just kind of pushing. You want to find the beauty in the control here, which is what we're always going for. Reminder to check in with your neck here. Is the back of your neck long, slight tuck to the chin? Are your shoulders still wrapping around your spine? So think scapulas wrap around those around your ribs and your spine. And then again, fingertips are reaching nice and long. Excellent job. We're going to finish out in this Pilates V. We're just going to take it straight up, find length, and straight down. Think inhale as you reach, find length. Exhale, find heaviness, that drop through the hamstring in the seat. Again, thinking about that pelvic stability here. So I'm not letting my pelvis rock all over the table. I'm finding a calm through my torso. Wonderful. Let's take one more here. Reach, find length, and reach, drop it down. Again, whenever we come out of this, we don't just take one foot out, we bend it in, we apply the hands, and we carefully step the feet back out. I would go feet onto those risers just to give you an easier way out. And then we come out the same way we got up. Little roll up, and we set that bar back down. Thank you so much for joining me for this quick workout today.